We were going to talk about hip hop production, right? That's one thing that we had, and I really wanted to kind of break down what it means for a hip hop track to be great because you and I were talking about the 80s production, 90s production, and you're more of a fan of the 90s production. I like a lot of the things about the 80s production, so we'll get into a whole lot of that. But I did want to kind of touch on this piece of this Angie Martinez interview that I saw that I think somebody sent it to us or I just saw it on the thread. That Clark Kent sat down with Angie and he made the statement of saying that the reason why Biggie's no longer here is because Tupac lied on him. And they're talking about the Quad Studio shooting night. I just hate that, some of these things get, just get new birth and new energy. And this is, again, off the heels of Clark Kent saying that The Chronic wasn't a classic. But
Is this the same interview that he said that in?
I don't think it's the same interview, no. This is my only thing, and it's the only reason why I'm bringing it up because I think that sometimes we got to be careful, man. A lot of these platforms right now, get a lot of our OGs and a lot of people from yesteryear, and they go out and see if they could tell the most extravagant stories, say the most shocking things sometimes. Not saying that's what Clark Kent's doing here, but when you have an OG in hip hop that's sitting in that seat, they're basically telling history, right? And they also have an opportunity to rewrite history if they come on some, um, I don't want to say shock value stuff. What's the word I'm looking for? Clickbaitish type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And this definitely seems like a clickbait issue or situation rather. So, saying all that to say, I'm only bringing this up because I think that people need a full picture, and I think anybody that was there gets the full picture. I don't think that's accurate to say that because Pac felt how he felt about that night at Quad Studios, that was the reason why Big was murdered the night of March 9th, or the morning of March 9th in Los Angeles, California. I think if you were there, or at least observing at that point, you know about the Sway interview. When he went out there for the Soul Train Awards and him spitting that verse from Life After Death that many believe was about Pac. I mean, you know about the inappropriate moves and just Life After Death having all kind of subliminals after a man's passing, or what some perceive as subliminals. So I don't know if that tells the whole story, and I wish that people would kind of stay away from those things because it reignites something that is dead and gone and unnecessary, man. And Angie actually sat down with Pop, too. Like, you know what I mean?
I think the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. And so, did Pac ignite some things and fan some flames with his rhetoric in magazines, in interviews, on video, via songs and diss records? Well, yes, of course. But you know how that male ego works too. And it's like I told you, and here's the best way that I can reference it. It's like one of the more disturbing moments to me in rap history on record, Mike, is the interludes on Life After Death. It's particularly the ones on My Downfall and Going Back to Cali.
Mm-hmm.
My Downfall one because he's actually calling out Faith's name on there. He's like, Faye? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But on Going Back to Cali, when they're recording the conversation between Puff and Big Mike, and he's like, oh, Cali? And Puff is like, we got to get this paper, baby. And I'm thinking to myself, well, look at what cost, though. and this is why money is the root of all evil, because the reality of the matter is that, Mike, we weren't kids, but we were teenagers. But Mike, we could feel what was going on, and we wasn't in New York or Cali, so I don't know what they was doing in Cali anyway. Now, Mike, this is before I ever lived in Cali. But I always knew, Mike, Cali and Cali niggas, them ain't type of dudes you roll up on when things aren't well.
There was a lot of poking the bear, I felt like, on Biggie's end or Bad Boy's end altogether.
Like, a Soul Train award is not worth it to me. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. And if you're going to make that appearance, move like you understand that you're, I mean, let's just keep it all the way real. Move like you're behind enemy lines, because you were. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is.
Yeah, like I mean,
it's like, you know, and I always tell people, like, and I guess you have to have that conversation with young black men about dealing with the police, yada yada, right? You have to move like you're behind enemy lines, because you are. You know what I'm saying? And you turning up on the police, all they're gonna do is call more. They're gonna call more. And
like,
what are you about?
They should have came. They should, like, I'm not joking. They should have came 100 deep from Brooklyn if they was coming to Cali.
And like you said, it's not even that important. You know what I'm saying? At that point,
right? And at that point that you have to do that, it's not that important. So that's not just Pac.
And also, Coop, I think the other part of it is people had heard things that you've said on the album. The album wasn't released yet, but certain songs were out there. Going Back to Cali was out there. And again, he spit that verse, what was it, from Long Kiss Goodnight, on Sway's show. And it's like, people heard that, and he spit that for people to hear that. And so there was a lot of poking the bear, and there needs to be some accountability on all ends. What I will say, to give Pac his credit, I remember even as a kid, Pac was saying, don't buy into this East Coast, West Coast shit. That's the media. This is between two men. I have never heard Bad Boy or any of them say that. So I feel like at that end, they were riding the wave of the records that this was selling. And case in point, I know they always talk about Who Shot You wasn't about Pac, but obviously the timing of its release was to sell records or get interest for it. And they were utilizing that back and forth for that. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, they just got to keep it honest with that. That's what happened. Again, not blaming anybody, but tell the whole story. To just sit there and say, because, you know, for whatever reason that Pac had to believe what he believed was the reason that Big is dead, I think is just, really, man, I think that's shitting on a man's legacy when you're not telling the whole truth like that. It's not right.
It's very problematic.
It's not right, man. Like, if anything, man, we all should learn from that situation and, you know, in those situations, take the high road and move forward. And it feels like, you know, from Clark Kent, who I respect a lot, Flex too, who I respect a lot, it's like they are still not willing to just say that Big did some wrong things. You know what I'm saying? He did. He made some mistakes. It happened.
Let's just say structurally and organizationally, Bad Boy did not move the way. Mike, this is the art of war, okay? In order to defeat your enemy, you must think like your enemy. So niggas in Cali ride. You feel me? So if you're gonna ride out to Cali, I suggest you be thinking like your enemy. You feel what I'm saying?
Somebody
like, just being straight up and down about it. So let's say it's not a big failure. It's a failure of structural and organizational leadership, Mike, and I can't stand talking about this shit.
Of course. But, you know, again, if we don't talk about it in full context, then you got people out here rewriting history, clearly, just based on their individual personal connections to it. You know what I'm saying? And we just got to be honest. Like somebody in the chat said, both of them were wrong to an extent. And And again, I hope we learn from this, even with whatever Quavo and Offset got going on. Like, man, this shit ain't worth it. Squash
I mean, how
whatever
about this?
and move forward.
How about this? If Big ain't to blame at all, then give us the timestamp on who shot you. Why can't we get a timestamp on who shot you if Big ain't got? You get what I'm saying? Like you seen the Stevie J interview, right? Where they asking him when it got made, right?
I tell you,
you know how many times? You know how many times different dudes from that camp have been asked when that record got made, Mike? Do we have an answer yet?
I tell you what, man. I know a lot of people say, okay, it was made whenever, whatever.
This is why I hate talking about this, because then we got to just start being honest about what happened on both sides.
Yeah,
you know
and again, people just need to be honest about it and say, again, we made mistakes. We were young, and we learned from that and moved forward. But to not acknowledge those things is even more wrong. What I was gonna say though. People always talk about it was made a long time ago and it was released. It was, totally didn't have anything to do with anything. But let's just say that somebody made a record.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that though.
Right, I know. But follow me real quick.
Like them dudes is from the streets. You can't take that out in the streets and feed that to nobody.
They know. Listen, they know what it is. I'll tell you this: if they made a song,
feed that to nobody.
If they made a song that had something to do with the Jewish community in the title, right, or it could be insinuated as something that affected that community, they wouldn't release it after something in that community happened detrimental. They wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? People know what to do and what not to do.
Mike, they try, that's like you and me trying to kick like our rap show like it's an R&B review. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, come on,
man. Like, just keep it all the way real. And I hate that, two of our greats had to be taken from that. But honestly, man, I hate that happened to Pop. But I'll tell you what, man, that didn't have to happen to Big. And
imagine you're sitting in a cell in New York, Mike, and the talk around the jail is a record called "Who Shot You" while you're in jail.
Listen, man.
You're in Rikers Island, and the song that's ringing bells in the streets and in the jail cells is a song called "Who Shot You."
It's insane.
When you got shot in a building
that this nigga was at, and you were coming to see them niggas or whatever, and they knew you were coming. Yeah.
Now, if that's not the biggest failure of structure and organizational leadership in the history of rap that I've ever seen.
But the problem, Coop, the biggest problem to me,
some of the dumbest shit ever.
Almost 30 years later, Coop, no one even acknowledges that, and no one is even saying, you know what, that was a bad move. That's my problem.
You want to know why it is? Because it's kind of, not to be funny. I'm always funny when I do it. Much like the R. Kelly thing, Mark, great music trumps everything at the end of the day. Yeah. Kind of like great play trumps like Lawrence Taylor's game-changing ability, quite frankly, changes like the cocaine and the prostitutes. You know what I'm saying? Who Shot You is such a mammothly great record in the annals of hip-hop, just fundamentally speaking as far as the beat is concerned and the MCing is concerned. Probably shouldn't have released it though, but it is one of the best rap songs you'll ever hear.
I mean, back then, and I'm still a big fan of both. Back then, I was more of a Biggie fan than I was a Pac fan. So I was actually, trying to justify that in the same way that it was being fed to me. Like, oh man, this song ain't about him, whatever. It was just coincidence. But now understanding the way things work, no, there's no excuse for that record to be put out in that time, and the reason why that record was being put out was because somebody said in the chat, controversy sells. And they had learned at that point controversy sells, and they were milking this thing. And the only person involved in any of this that was acknowledging the fact that, look, this is people trying to sell records was Pop. He was the only one.
Where's Quad Studios exactly?
What's that?
Where's Quad Studios at?
In New York.
No, I mean, where at?
It's Quad Studio. Was that in Manhattan, right?
I feel like, right?
I think so. I think it was in the middle of the city. Somebody correct us if we're wrong.
Right.
LP with the super chat says, you may get what you want, but not what you he said home. He said, you may get what you want, but not what you get. Excuse me. You may get what you want, but not want what you get. Yeah. AB Studios with the super chat says Clark is wrong. Both to blame. Both poke the bear in the interviews. There's no accountability from both sides. Too much ego being displayed. That's all it was. I can agree with both being wrong and not actually squashing something that possibly could have been squashed, but. I would say one side is more wrong than the other in my eyes. And if we're talking about Big's demise, there were things that he could have done after Pac had been murdered to not be in a position where, like you said, he would be behind enemy lines on the West Coast. Like, I remember seeing the Joe Clair interview, the classic Joe Clair interview on Rap City, where Big said, I wouldn't wish death on anybody because ain't no coming back from that. But other than that, there was never really any remorse or any like, yo, man, it's fucked up. We got to stop this type stuff coming from Big. It was still
I mean,
some
truthfully,
somewhat tough guy shit. And
the
that,
only guy I remember from the East Coast even really like saying something about Pac like that was Tretch with the "Mourn You Till I Join You" record.
yeah,
Everybody else is quiet.
that could have been an opportunity for a lot of the people to just be like, you know what, man, we got
Could
to
have
stop
squashed it
this
right
shit.
there.
Yeah, let's squash
Tretch
it. But
tried. People forget that too. Tretch
yeah,
made the "Mourn You Till I Join You" record. People should have got behind that.
and it wasn't
Okay,
until, like,
but listen to what I'm saying. So this is what I mean. Like you got to start getting into understand. Like this. This is what I mean. Hip hop is 50, Mike. So understand this is happening 30 years ago.
yeah,
So hip hop's not that old. It's very young.
yeah.
Okay. It's very, very street oriented.
They
Now,
made some
Mike.
mistakes.
Now let me. No, I'm just like Mike. Now the way the streets work, it's eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth still.
Yeah.
So what you do unto me, I'm going to do unto you. That's why I was asking, well, where's Quad Studios at? That's in Manhattan. Darren Harris said Times Square to be exact.
Mm-hmm.
So Pac got hit up in the middle of New York, literally. Now you think them dudes on the West Coast didn't take note of that?
Of course.
Like, check. Like as soon as that happened, Mike, every East Coast artist of any sort of notoriety should have been like, pause. Because the way Cali dudes think, what you do to me, then to do to you.
Well, that's
And
all.
they'll wait, Mike.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
dudes
all
in
the more
street
reason.
know these rules and know how this goes. So I don't know why we sitting up here playing these games.
Well, that's all the more reason, though, to get in front of it. But again, these guys were young, right? Do you think it would have still been that same situation if if there were more Tretches out there in that mix? Like, listen, man, niggas ain't co-sign this shit. This was, what I'm saying? This had nothing to do with the East Coast. This is a isolated scenario. Because Pac was,
all I'm saying
Pac
is
was still working.
If you bang my guy in public, I'm going to bang yours in public. I'll wait.
But that's all the more reason not to poke the bear.
Period.
So
that's what I'm saying. That's why it's like from then it should have all been like, oh, well, we know how the streets really work, so we just don't. And that's that's what I'm talking about with ego and money. You start thinking that you're bigger and badder than what you are, Mike. No. Streets will always show you. It's like, no. We can come pull you right back in if we feel like it.
Because like I said, we're not going to sit here and act like life after death and all of the shots that are on there didn't happen. We're not going to sit here and act like he didn't go up to Sway's show and rap a verse that clearly is about Pac, that Un said was about Pac, that Lil C said was about Pac on LA radio. That happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that.
And you see, Mike, and I try to offer a contrarian opinion about it, just like to give it like a different spin, because it's like, well, I don't want to be bringing that shit back up. Can we try to look at it differently at least?
We just got to tell the truth. It was a mistake. You know what I mean? It's fine. It was, like you said, it was 30 years ago. But don't go out there.
What happened? That's what I'm saying. It's not fine.
It's not fine. But the fact that people make mistakes when you're young and you're dumb, it's what it is. But when you're older and you're sitting here acting like it didn't happen, that's really not fine. Because no one learns from that. You know what I'm saying? And you're kind of throwing somebody else's legacy in the dirt to sit here and cover up the shit that this other person did wrong. You know what I mean? You got to tell a balanced take of it. Those things
happen. Good, Mike. It don't sound good when they say neighbors called the cops, said they heard mad shots. That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it doesn't
Don't tell me
sound
these
good.
niggas didn't know that that shit did not sound good. I mean, like, they knew it sounded great, but they knew it didn't sound good. You feel me? They chose what sounded great on record over, like, what the streets tell you that you shouldn't do.
Well, this is the problem with subliminals. Subliminals can be creative, but the
It's on
mind
nigga,
can
fuck all
wander
that
as
bickering
well.
beef. It's on nigga, fuck all that bickering beef.
Yeah. I can hear sweat trickling down your cheek, your heartbeat sound like Sasquatch. Yeah, you know.
Don't sound
OG,
good.
OG
Sounds
Winston,
great, but it don't sound good.
OJ Winston with the super chat said, Big had Snoop's trailer shot up before Pac said anything about Big. Pac left prison and went straight to the studio. RIP to both legends. I don't know anything about that. That's interesting.
So the New York video scene got shot up is what he's talking about, but we don't know if Big and Big's people did that. That's still
Yeah,
conjecture.
I don't know
believe.
I don't know
Let's
anything
not,
about that.
Yeah, let's not just tote that out there like that's totally factual. But it is factual that the New York video shoot did get shot up though.
And ain't no telling. That could have been some agents. That could have been somebody sent from some, big record label that had nothing to do with anything to keep the controversy up. Who knows? But
Kids do be taking pictures, Mike. They do have something to do with all of this.
But that's all the more reason why when you have two individuals that are in the center of something, you need to let all that outside noise go, and they need to work it out if they can. And I think that even in death, and again, Biggie paid with his life in this situation, but he definitely could have squashed these things even after Pac had been murdered, and he didn't. And the controversy continued to go on, and it seems like from an outsider's perspective, it seemed like that was more about keeping the controversy up to sell records, really. And unfortunately, what happened happened. But I think it's not telling the whole story to just completely blame the man who was murdered first for all of it when there was an opportunity to say, you know what, no, we're going to move a different way, but that didn't happen. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I think those things need to be addressed for our younger audience that probably doesn't know the full scope of what happened. And when somebody who was close to a lot of this stuff just says those things, and Flex has said it too, that might be how they feel, but based on everything that's on the table, that doesn't seem like that's the whole picture. I'll put it that way.
Man, just give me the who shot your timestamp. That's it.
Yeah.
I want a recording date, or I don't want to talk about this. You feel me? Because to be honest with you, more than anything else, even beyond the life after death subliminals, Mike, this is about who shot you. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, no, timestamp the record if you really want to get down to the get down. Like that's where all this shit really spin from.
Like you said, this man's sitting in rockets. I mean, we've seen these interviews, and if you haven't seen those interviews or the interview,
he's singing "What's Up" from out the window right before he got shot, Mike. It don't look good.
Yeah, I mean, Pac's interview from
come upstairs. Don't that sound like a setup, Mike? The way Pac telling the story, he's seeing C's hanging out the window, telling him to come on up, and he comes in to come up, and they know that he's coming already, and there are two dudes waiting. Come on.
I don't think we talk about Pac's jail interview enough because he doesn't seem mad. He doesn't seem anything. He's just telling what happened, and he called out Donnie Simpson too. He's like, he getting it from every direction. People making up these rumors about him being, taken advantage of and this and that. So him getting locked up, and I'm trying to think, man, like at the time, was Pac like the first ever big hip hop star that was like active and locked up? Like hip hop hadn't really seen anything.
No, I mean like what's his name from Audio 2?
Oh, you talking about Chi Ali?
Yeah.
Chi Ali just had a birthday too. Shout out to Chi Ali. No, but I'm talking about somebody who's like active. You know what I mean? Like on top of the game. And I don't think where the media has to cover them, I don't think that we had seen that
Snoop
before.
had the murder trial, but he wasn't locked up.
Right.
But
And so
Pac
this was
was
kind
like,
of new for everybody, and Pac was actually getting a lot of these,
I
the
mean, Pac had
rumors
already
that
been shooting at
circulate.
people. I mean, Pac had already been shot at and been, yeah, like and
Yeah.
shooting and yes, yes,
So, I mean,
yeah.
people have to look and possibly try to think where his mind's at with this. Like, if you were in that
No, Mike, we
situation,
knew
how
where his
would you
mind
be
was. That's
thinking?
why it was like, why are we doing this? Because it's like he made it very clear that it was a problem.
Yeah. And you know what? And all that had to be said, or all that had to be done was like, listen, it's not what it was, and just keep it moving. And that didn't happen. And I think again, the only as an adult now, the only reason why I can think that it didn't happen the way it should have happened was the fact that controversy sells. And they were riding off of this controversy, and it was very, very, very trepidous. And the balloon popped.
I
But
mean, Mike, if I'm sitting in a cell in New York
mm-hmm.
and I've been shot, and quite frankly, I've been accused of a crime that most people that were there that night said I didn't commit, and I feel like I've been set up by these guys. What type of frame of mind? That's why I always tell people, it's like, how exactly were you expecting Tupac to behave?
And
Because I know myself, Mike, I'm not about to behave in that situation. And I know very few black men who are. You're
and
not
on top
about
of
to
that,
shoot. Mike, you're not about to shoot me. Mike, you're not about to shoot me, make a record about shooting me, have to sit. Oh, no, Mike, you better be happy that I came home and made music.
exactly. And you know what? And I think the other part of that, Coop, is that the other side, they're not saying anything favorable in a way where it's like, yo, man, we love dude. We would never do anything like that. They're not even doing that.
Well, it's a misunderstanding.
Yeah,
It's
like,
miscommunication. It's like, what are you, an attorney? Your attorney tell you to say that? What the fuck
like
is
they're
that?
not even doing that. Like,
I don't want to
really,
talk about this.
what really should have happened, niggas should have had some collaborations going on if nobody had anything to
I
do
don't
with
want to talk
anything,
about it.
right? Rigor Raw 7 with the super chat says, Big Snake Pac after he put him on. It's simple. That's the other part about Pac, man. Like what
So you don't allegedly shoot me, then allegedly make a song about shooting me and think that I'm not about to sit up here.
Pac, man. And again, I didn't get this from the media coverage because you got to understand, back in 94, 95, 96, the only thing that I saw from Pac was what I heard on the radio, what was on BET, and what was on MTV. Now, years go by and you really dig into the person and dig into, these old videos of him in high school and just the history of him and everything. Pac's thing was, look, man, I'm showing love and I expect that love back. And if I don't get that kind of love back, I have a problem. That's just the bottom line. And it's kind of piggybacking off of what Rick Ross said. He put him on. He showed him how to move. And this is what you do? And even if you didn't do this, you need to make it clear that you didn't.
You do understand that you do. I mean, this is what I mean. This is what I mean by having to be there. You have to understand that it's like, and I can remember these conversations in the neighborhood, Mike. Nobody was looking at Pac like he was crazy for what he was talking.
Mm-hmm.
And here's why, Mike.
But the media was making it look like that, though.
This is what I'm talking about, the streets, Mike. But in the streets, it's like, hold on. I'm in New York City. I get shot. Right before I get shot, I see you guys. Now, me and your guy, I've been teaching him, quote unquote, how to make the records for modern day times. As in, the formula is you got to make something for the street and make something for the ladies. Right. And I've passed this formula along to him because I'm coming through New York a lot. I'm kicking it with all you guys. Got relationships with you, Tretch, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to do whatever for somebody who was managed by Jimmy Henchman, correct? Mm-hmm. And one of your people is waving out the window and telling me to come upstairs. Almost like you've been waiting for me.
Yeah.
And when I get to the elevator, there are two people with guns and masks. Try to take my shit, and I say no. They proceed to shoot me. I somehow survived the shooting and make it upstairs to you all, and you all is chilling after I've been shot. Like I ain't been shot. Like you surprised that I'm alive. And then to add icing on the cake, I end up going to prison in your state. And that's when you decide to release a record called Who Shot You? Mike,
Doesn't look good.
I don't know no.
Exactly. No.
Not from Mike, not from East Atlanta, not from West Charlotte. No.
Yeah. AB Studios of the Super Chat says, one thing I learned about Pac is, premonition. Excuse me. Pac is premonition. There's power in the tongue. His message shifted before the NY incident. Me against the world was already done. You know, again, I think that one of Pac's big things was the fact that, man, he didn't think that one of his own, a black man, would do something like that.
They're not being addressed on Me Against the World. His issues in general are being addressed on Me Against the World. This is what I mean. This is a compounding thing. You have to understand, for him, he's dealing with the police shooting in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
He's dealing with a sexual assault charge. You know, he's dealing with a multitude of things.
And ain't no telling what he's...
With this. And the guy that he befriended and is trying to help show how to make records...
And ain't no telling what he's dealing with on the personal end that we don't know about, you know?
I done acted a fool for way less, Mike. For way
Most
less.
people have.
Showed my ass. I done showed my ass for way less, Mike.
Most people have.
Way less.
Yeah, no. But yeah, again, man, I think the whole story needs to be told. And, you know, anything other than that, I hate to say it like this, is propaganda. And there shouldn't be any bias in history. We've dealt with enough history bias in American history. You know what I mean? So when we're telling hip hop history, hip hop is 50.
So much allegedly means like something ain't right. That's what I'm saying.
Hip hop is 50, and we got to tell the story right. You know what I'm saying? And again, guys were young. You know, I don't know where the mentors were at the time, but it feels like a lot of this stuff was kind of let go free because they were like, okay, well, controversy sells. It's another one of those, you know, this is just industry until it got real. But blaming somebody else for a lot of those mishaps on Big and his crew's end, I don't think is right. That's all I'm saying. So, but we can move on from there. I thought that needed to be said.
I gotta, like, Mike, I'm just, we gotta stop talking about this shit.
I mean, we just got to talk about it right. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just got to talk about what happened, because if we don't, people will just create this narrative that Pac was just some crazy man. You know, you remember that Biggie... This is what
I mean, Mike. We don't have to do anything. The only thing that's missing from this puzzle, really based on everything that we know, is when did Who Shot You get recorded? Because they're saying... Because the way that... I think the best explanation that I heard is like, oh, that record got made before that happened, and we didn't release it till after. That's just a coincidence. And here's my only problem with that.
Both are bad.
I mean, that's the best one. But listen to what I'm saying when I'm saying that. Listen to Big on there.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say.
No, Mike, that's not 93 Big on
it's
there.
It's not. Of course
Who
it's
the
not.
Fuck are you?
Of course it's not. That's One More Chance Big on there.
Who you playing with?
No, for real. That's Life After Death is. I'm sorry, not Life After Death. Ready to Die is well done.
That's not Mike. That's not the guy that recorded Juicy, Mike.
No, that's not even the guy that recorded Unbelievable. This is 95 Big. Regardless of what they want to say, as a listener, you know, like, yeah, that tone, that flow. That's One More Chance beyond Big. One More Chance remix, that is. Let me be specific. Stay With Me remix Biggie is on Who Shot You. Ain't no Dead Wrong Biggie or Party and Bullshit Biggie on Who Shot You. No. Yeah. BCD Dub.
Mike, that ain't Dreams. What's the 411 remix? Dolly My Baby remix.
No.
Stop playing.
Because when they put out
Machine Gun Funk Big, Mike.
No. Because when they put out, what's the name of that album? The third album, the posthumous album. You know what I'm talking about.
Born Again.
Born Again, yes. when they put out Born Again, you could hear those records was old. Those records sound way older than Who Shot You.
That Wrong sounds old, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. That's 92, 93, Biggie.
Yeah. Relax and take notes. Yeah, it's a whole different.
I want to smoke. For you want to choke, gun smoke, gun
Yeah,
smoke.
that's not Who Shot You. Separate the weak from the opposite. No. That's 95 Biggie right there.
I can hear sweat trick. Stop that.
Yeah. Okay,
Stop
so
playing with me, Mike. That's very comparable to the guy that's like today's agenda. Got the suitcase up in the Sentra. That's closer to that guy than the guy before. Stop playing.
Okay, so what was the date on the Quad Studio?
I don't know, Mike. It feels
I'm about
like
to look it up.
Feels like it was spring, summertime-ish, 94-ish.
Okay. I'm sure the people in the chat know.
Oh,
actually, bro,
it's messing up my childhood all over again.
It was late 94. So this was November 94.
That was when he shot him?
Okay, the date's 94. On this date in 94. Okay, hold on. I think I found it. Yeah, November 30th, 1994. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I don't know. I wasn't in the studio. I wasn't even in the industry at that point. I was in like 6th grade or something. But there ain't no 94 big on Who Shot You. That's 95 big. So if the shooting was November 30th, 1994, I'm willing to bet you and anybody that record was recorded after that shooting.
Now, Mike, when did Who Shot You get released?
Let's see. Let's see. We're gonna be accurate here. This is a research show. So Who Shot You got released February 21st, 1995. And see, they claim on Wikipedia it was recorded in 94. Now listen, I got ears.
Yeah, Mike, it was recorded in 94, like December 1st or 2nd, 1994. What do you mean? What do we look like?
Come on, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real here, man. The vocal tones don't lie. They don't.
No, Mike, it's the delivery that don't lie.
Oh, yeah.
It's the delivery that don't lie.
Do we have a Biggie feature that comes from 94 that we can kind of correlate this with?
Album. Isn't the R. Kelly album Be Happy?
Was that was 94, wasn't it? I'm trying to think of what we can match this up with. But vocally, I'm almost sure that this is 95 Big recording that. Like you said, it's the flow and the vocals. BCMD with the super chat says, Pac's last interview, Thug Immortal, is informative. Most of his interviews are informative. I need to go back and check that one out. KC1 with the super chat says,
recorded in 94. Mike, what? He got shot. He got recorded in 94.
Yeah, November 30th.
How long you think it take a prime big to record a record? Somebody got recorded in 94. Yeah, December 94.
November 30th.
January 95.
Yeah.
Might have got recorded on Valentine's Day and was up for press a week later. Stop fucking playing with us.
So when did Ready to Die come out? Because I feel
Ready to Die came out in June, Mike.
Okay, Ready to Die is June in 94. So they're trying to tell us that either A, this is a record that didn't make Ready to Die, right? Or this was recorded like in September or something of 94.
Mike, This is the same time that Get Money remix, Get Money, Play His Anthem, all that stuff's getting made. It's that guy rapping on that record,
it's those
not
sessions.
the guy on Ready to Die.
It's those sessions.
Why are we playing? These are the after Ready to Die sessions. Stop making it seem like these is Ready to Die sessions. Who Shot You not no Ready to Die session, Mike? Ready to Die been done.
KC1 with the super chat
Unless they got
says,
a timestamp, Mike.
Well, I'm interested to hear the timestamp, but I don't know if I'm going to believe it.
Part of the Ready to Die recording process, and just show, give us the footage and show us, like, okay, March of 94. Okay, fine. Then yeah.
When the record was turned in, I mean, all that's documented.
Yeah, but December 2nd, Mike, or December 2nd, 94 sounds more likely. February 14th, 95 seems more likely.
Yeah, I think so. Just in my estimation.
What's
KC
that shit
one.
that what's that shit could say Cam says on the rock could be April, could be July 2nd sound like, could be April 2nd sound like July 4th. Yeah, motherfucker, could be like any day, but stop making it trying to seem like it was a day before the day this nigga got shot.
Yeah, he just made it a week before that happened.
Right. It's like, oh yeah. We made this 2 weeks before and then this thing got shot. It's like, oh, that's not good either. You understand that, right?
That's not good either. Yeah, sounds like a setup.
You understand it looks bad unless it's part of the Ready to Die recording sessions, and I ain't heard not one person say that's part of Ready to Die recording sessions.
But Coop, let's use our ears, right?
Not.
There's nothing on Ready to Die that sounds remotely like the Biggie that is on Who Shot You. There's not. Nothing. What song would you say sounds like the most advanced Biggie on Ready to Die? Like, what do you think of the last couple of songs recorded from that album?
Oh, Mike, I feel like
Big Papa.
No, actually, Mike, I actually think that I'm pretty certain Unbelievable was probably the last record done because Illmatic had dropped.
Okay.
They felt like they needed to get a Primo track because the Nas Primo thing had become the thing because of New York State of Mind, Memory Lane, and Represent. Those records were real big in New York, obviously, around the time while Big is actually recording Ready to Die. So I think Unbelievable is the last record, Mike. And that's what I'm saying. The guy that's going live from Bedford-Stuyvesant, son, the livest one. Represent. That's not the guy who shot you. Separate the weak from the obsolete. Hard to creep. No.
No, it's not.
No. Stop fucking playing with me. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No. KC1 with the super chat.
Mike, we've been listening to music our whole lives.
Yeah.
Like you could have maybe like fed that to the 13-year-old me.
Right.
Feed that to the 41-year-old me. It's like, Ready to Die was done.
Yeah.
You're a much better MC on Who Shot You.
Mm-hmm. KC1 with the super chat says, Coop, what about Drop a Gem on?
His delivery is different, Mike. Like he's learned how to use his voice better.
Mm-hmm.
It's heavier.
KC1 said, Coop, what about Drop a Gem on him? What about it?
What about?
What about
This is after.
Yeah.
That's after.
Yeah. Gil Thompson with the super chat says, has there been an MC whose voice you hated, but can acknowledge that they made a classic album? Huh.
Rigger Raw's right. Listen to these bars, Mike, so you know what to tell Jake, brave nigga, lame nigga, turn front page nigga. Who you talking about? Nas ain't on the front pages in 94.
He not talking about LL either. I know, and it's so crazy that narrative that he's talking about LL comes right before this Clark Kent thing. Like niggas is trying to change history or something. I mean, I don't know, man.
I'm not about to let you do that.
CJ Kidd with a $20 super chat showing love. He says, Who Shot You was originally for Mary J's My Life album. Originally, it was Big, Keith, and LL. You hear Keith's verse on the My Life album. The recording process was from December 93 to September 94. So Big did that before December 94. Okay, let me say this, CJ Kidd. That still could be true, but it can also be true that Big said, you know what? I'm about to tune up these verses and re-record some new shit to a song that's already been lasting. On them? Yeah.
Yeah, how about this? What if Who Shot You wasn't Who Shot You when Keith Murray and LL were on it and became Who Shot You when it became just Big's record?
Yeah. I mean, that's possible.
All I'm saying is give us some timestamps. How about this, Mike? We still ain't heard the Keith Murray verse in full. Check this word. It's bubonic plague in your head, back, chest, arms, and legs. And he's also used that verse on other songs.
Ab Studio with the AB Studio. Yeah, yes. AB Studios with the super chat says, Who Shot You hit the streets first on 5th of December in 94. Fact. Huh.
That's very problematic, Mike.
That's literally the same week.
It's literally like 7 days later, because ain't 30 days in November or 31?
It's 30, I think. Yeah, because December has 31, yeah.
6 days?
Yeah. Turn front page, nigga. I mean, again, you just gotta.
Who in the hell in their right mind would do that?
I mean, LP saying that's insinuating a lot, but it's not really insinuating anything when we know what that artist sounded like, year to year. There's timestamps on Big's flow and vocal tone from 94 to 95. That's why I'm asking people, do you have a Biggie feature from 94 that we could say, you know what? He does sound like the One More Chance Who Shot You Big in 95, but this was released in 94. You know what I mean? We don't have that, I don't think. When was Totals Can't You See? That was 95, right?
Same time.
Yeah.
Give me all the heads from Pasadena to Medina, but get in between them. That's the same guy who shot you, Mike. The same guy.
I mean, I don't think it's far out to say that he could go out there.
So hold on, Mike. Let's say it is that, what did he say, December 93 to September 94? First of all, it's a long-ass recording session for one song.
Right. And for a nigga who records like that, you know what I'm saying? He did a lot of recording.
A lot.
Yeah.
Of time. But also, too, I mean, when Tupac got shot, he was biggest star in rap, pretty much. Why would you release this record 6 days later? Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't he get convicted like 3 days after he got shot?
Yep, it was something like that. Yep, they took him straight.
So literally, this record is getting dropped while this nigga's getting hauled into jail. Like, because I remember it kind of happening like that. It felt like he got shot, went to jail, and I started hearing who shot you.
And if that's your man.
If it happened like that, it's very problematic. People do understand that, right? Just inherently off that, it's problematic.
Exactly. And you know what? And I ain't even saying they were the best of friends, right? But even if that's your guy, that whenever he comes in town, and just as an artist, you got to respect the game. You shouldn't even do that. Like, even if, you know what I mean? Like, why would anybody do that to somebody that they already know and they know is going through all of that? It's like, you know what? I did record this dope-ass song called Who Shot You, but I'm not putting this out right now because my man's going through it, and it's going to sound like, this comes together. But
okay,
they did it anyway.
So that's what I'm saying. So let's say this got recorded after Ready to Die, but before the shooting. So let's say Ready to Die comes out in June. This happens in November. So sometime between July and the beginning of November.
Let's say he records it in August or something for whatever reason.
Right. Well, let's pause for a second, Mike. Did any of them go see Pac in jail?
Yeah.
Did any of them hit up Pac's camp or any of Pac's people and clear up any of the confusion that the record caused?
Yeah.
Something not right about that, don't you think?
I agree.
Because if everything's on the up and up, go see the man. He right there in Rikers, right?
Everything's on the up and up.
You flying to Cali, you can definitely go to Rikers because Suge ass damn sure made it to Rikers. That's how we got here. You feel what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm saying. So maybe, listen to what I'm saying, Mike. Well, maybe if y'all go see him and make this solid, Suge don't come. None of this even ends up this way.
Yeah.
So something ain't right.
Exactly. And you know what? And on top of that, like you said,
no matter how you chop it up, fucking up is fucking up.
Clear it up with the man. Clear it up with his people. And you know what? Go out there and tell radio or whoever, you know what? Don't play this record anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we're chilling on this record. So much unreleased stuff from the 90s anyway, because people didn't want to put it out for whatever reason. Why this record continued to get legs and it wasn't even necessary.
Because here's what it really looks like. And this is kind of like about Big's talent too. Well, it looks like you're just taking my formula and you found a better MC to use my formula and just trying to wipe me off the board altogether. I think you should maybe come up to this prison and talk to me about that.
Exactly.
It don't look right.
Yeah.
Because we some G's, right?
Yeah, just holler at the man.
So we gonna handle it like some G's, right?
But I wish.
We didn't really handle it like no G's, no.
And again, they were young.
King ain't saying that shit though.
They were young. There was a lot of people in people's ear, but I would expect people who are now in their 50s. Yeah, people who are
No, there's
now
enough
in
time
their
with some bed style.
50s, mid
You know,
50s or whatever, go out
stuff like that.
there and say what you should have did. CJ Kidd with the $20 super chat says, Big's verse stood the same. Look on YouTube. The whole OG version is out. Big's verse is the same, and you hear Kidd's full verse. LL didn't do it because he thought that he was getting dissed by Big, just from research. Okay, I'm gonna look that up, but I'm telling you,
I
CJ.
don't change anything I just said though.
I'm
That's what
telling
I'm
you,
saying. Look,
CJ.
if it happened just like that, then tell me why you didn't go see him. Tell
Mm-hmm.
me why you didn't make this right. Tell me why you released the record.
Yeah.
Because I ain't heard no answers worth a damn about any of those
And
questions.
nobody says anything about those things. Everybody
Well,
says,
no,
"Oh, well, he ain't do
I
it.
mean,
It was this and
because
this."
this is
Like,
no, because
yeah,
this is what I mean about how it gets highlighted. People, Mike, I just think about it different. People always bring up the fact that Suge went there. I'm like, no. How Suge beat y'all there is the question. He was right there. Y'all was right there. Suge's over there. The real question is that how did Suge make it to Rikers before you niggas unless something was wrong,
because
Mike?
if that's my man, the first thing I'm doing, I'm going there, and then I'm going to the hospital number one, and then after that, like you said, Rockets. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, "I
I
do
ain't going to the
agree,
hospital. I don't like hospitals, especially if I feel like a nigga been shot a bunch and about to die. I wait outside the hospital in the
but at
parking
least
lot. So
giving
I
a
can feel
tip."
that. So I can feel that. But no. Oh, he lived and he's in Rikers?
Yeah,
Yeah, I got to make that trip. Because, in the streets, it's not going to end up well if I don't make that trip, Mike. And
and they
look what
didn't.
happened. You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Exactly.
It's like, no, when you do stuff like that in the streets, you have to go make that right. It is not about to play. We all knew this. You know this at a young age. I ain't trying to hear that they was young. Nah, fam.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
they were
We all
older.
know better very, very early on. That ain't how it gets played. You didn't want to go up there because something was wrong.
CJ Kidd with the super chat says, "I do agree. However, no matter when it was recorded, it was bad timing."
It's awful.
Um,
Very dumb.
yeah,
Very dumb. Two people are gone now.
yeah, and the whole music world was shaking up, and I would imagine, again, I hate to bring it down to economics and things of that nature. I'm sure that the whole hip hop community suffered financially, from touring with all of the bad publicity that this violence brought. The insurance went up, I'm sure, for any promoters who's doing a hip hop concert. That's why they were really highlighting with the Hard Knock Life tour that there was no violence, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, what are they talking about? They're talking about that. And I'm sure that casted a dark cloud over the hip hop game and industry from that standpoint as well. But none of
Mike,
that had to happen.
Mike, imagine this. Okay, so you've owned According to Hip Hop's Belief since like 2013, right?
Mm-hmm.
I came on 2016.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. 16, 17.
16, 17. I think we started talking about it in 16. I think it's actually started happening like 17. So, Mike, very similar, much like, how Pac was kind of here a few years before Big. You were doing this a few years before me. Now, let's say that we're coming up in this field together, Mike, and that we're supposed to be at the same place at the same time. You and me, we have a relationship. Now, we're not the best of friends. You have your crew and I have my crew. But every time I pull up, it's love between your crew, it's love between my crew. And it's never been a problem, Mike. Mike, you get shot, and I'm in the building. I don't go see you at the hospital, and then you go to jail, and I don't go see you in jail. Are we still close in your mind and in your heart?
And then I hear you got a record out called "Who Shot You."
We don't even got to get to the record. That's why I'm pausing right there. We can pause right there. Like, let's take the record out of it.
Yeah.
Let's really just look at it inherently like a human being situation.
Yeah.
You don't go see me in the hospital and check on me. You don't go see me in jail. I'm in your city on your side of town. I'm in your neighborhood. I'm all through your stomping grounds. You probably got dudes up in this jail that can help look out for me and even take care of me probably.
A situation like that should make us closer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that should be a moment where, you reach out and you be like, you know what? Coop's really, really good people. This ain't just some industry shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But at the point that you don't do those things, he probably looking at me like, man, fuck this nigga Coop.
Like,
And then Mike, the guy from all the way over there, who you kind of know from the Above the Rim days and the Above the Rim soundtrack, when Death Row was getting started. Oh, he comes to check up on you, and maybe when he sits down, Mike, he's like, hey, don't you think it's kind of funny how that happened in their neighborhood on their watch? And these niggas ain't come see about you in hospital, in court, or in prison? I tell you what, I'm going to get you out of here and put about 100 G's in your pocket, and you going to ride with us. What you going to do?
Exactly. Yeah.
You see how not checking up on him changed literally the course of everything?
Yeah. But no one ever.
That's how the streets really work, Mike. Suge, this is what I mean. People be talking about Suge. No. Suge did what a real street dude's supposed to do. He see what Pac say on Hail Mary, peeped the weakness in the rap game and sold it. He peeped the weakness in their movements, and he went and snatched Pac.
Yeah.
And nothing was ever the same after that.
You right.
And so, Mike, unless something was wrong, why all that happened?
Exactly. James Smith with the super chat says, Big went to the hospital after Pac was shot. First I've ever heard of that. CJ Kidd with the super chat says, so many people wanted to get Pac out. Jay Prince and Warren G planned to at different times. Suge just beat them to it. AB Studio.
How? Explain to me how and why that should happen, though, if he's right there and you're right there and Suge is all the way over here.
Because the thing is, Coop.
You know how geography works, right, Mike? And the time on flights?
Coop. The thing is, man, Pac wasn't going nowhere. It wasn't like he was moving around. He was in jail. How did he beat them to it? Like, the man was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, he might have beat them to it being there by Tuesday, and they got there by Thursday, but he was there.
Like, they could have drove there and beat Suge on a regular flight. Like, let's say it's like Pac's in prison. Go. It's like the drive is shorter than the flight is.
This is true. AB Studio with the super chat says, December 5th, the DJs had it first. So he recorded sometime between December 1st and 5th. Right when Pac was found guilty and suffering in the hospital. Foul. AB Studio sound like he has some inside information. You a DJ, or you got some DJs in the tri-state area that got this?
I told you when the niggas talking about it got recorded in 94. I'm like, oh, when he get shot? November 30th? Yeah, December 2nd. 2 days.
Because the DJs...
A date to write and a date to recite. Even if it's in your head, a data right in your head and then a data recite it out. You MC before you know how it goes.
He said the DJs got it by December 5th. Hold on 1 second. We got a package. Hold on.
Clinton, Rikers, my bad BCM. I feel like he was in Rikers too. Was he in Rikers for something else?
Appreciate that, man. Go. Sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? UPS and whatnot. Anyway, but yeah, he said the DJs got it on December 5th. And they had it first. Well, you know what? At that point, and I think AB Studio might be a DJ or know some DJs in that area, maybe we need to ask the DJs when they got it. Because I don't think anybody who was in the recording side of it's even going to tell us, you know, when that shit was really recorded. But again, based on his flow and voice, I'm gauging the December thing is on point.
I'm saying, that's why I mean, it's like, this is what I be talking about. It's like, I don't like talking about this, Mike, because it's like, oh no, I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Davis
Lewis
Love.
I don't like talking about it, because it's like, oh no. It's like, oh yeah, we did that in September 94. It's like, oh, did you?
Right.
It's like, really? It's like, why you release it then?
Exactly. You know, at that point, like you said,
that's what I'm saying.
That's even worse because it gives you that real cognitive time to say, you know what? Nah, we're not putting this out right now.
This is what I'm saying, Mike. It's like, well, what type of murderer are you? It's like, are you the type of killer that kills instantly? Or are you the type of killer that waits? Because it's like, you know, you look like a killer anyway you toss.
It looks bad. It looks bad. And like you said, the fact that they never went and hollered at the man, that looks bad. Davis Lewis Love of the Super Chat says, it makes you wonder. Puff, being the businessman, should have got Pac out and put him on Bad Boy with Big, unless he knew something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, there's a multitude of ways to make this right. I don't give him a little kite, Mike. Like the 10 G's and Pac commissary from you guys.
BCMD correcting us, and he's right. He says Pac was jailed in Clinton correctional facilities. Yeah, he was in Clinton, Max.
Sorry.
And that interview with Clinton, Max, is.
I feel like he was in Rikers too, Mike. I feel like
I think he was. He might have got transported or something at some point, or transferred. But I do remember the interview being at Clinton correctional, and that's a very, very interesting interview. And like I said, we need to highlight that interview a lot more because even in the mainstream,
if I die in here,
huh?
He was talking about if I die in here.
Yeah, but you know what?
What's going on, Mike?
He didn't even. You know, the whole narrative when he came out, you remember, and this is Interscope being the super incredible marketing machine that they are. The narrative when he came out was, oh man, he got a double disc because he just been inside writing this, that, and the third. And I remember him saying in that interview, which they didn't publicize a lot at the time, he was like, man, I'm not inspired to write in here. People think that I'm over here, you know what I'm saying, writing a whole bunch of raps, man. Like, ain't nothing around here that he's like, this is not the spot. Jail is not the place to be. And yeah, I really wish that a lot of those interviews would have got publicized as much as some of the other stuff that was a lot more volatile, because I think that's one of his most insightful interviews because he was in the midst of it all, but he was still very collected, you know, thinking straight, because the narrative kind of is on him at that point. He's lost his mind. He's wilding. He's this, and that. No, he was very calculated at that time.
How about this? The guy in prison with no drugs or alcohol in his system still felt like somebody had done something to him.
Exactly.
And this is what people keep on missing. No. This guy was highly intelligent, Mike, and trained by Black Panthers.
Exactly.
Hello. Yeah. We have a highly intelligent black man trained by Black Panthers that feel like he was set up.
Yeah. But this is all in his head or whatever.
But this nigga's crazy.
Yeah. Davis Lewis Love with the Super Chat says, the fact that Puff and Big in L.A. too, so-called promoting an album when you live in the media capital of the world is highly suspect. BCMD with the Super Chat says, it was truly a dark time and still invokes emotion. Yeah, man, definitely was. And all of it could have been prevented, but like I said, I don't like the fact that it's being told a certain way 30 years later.
No, it needs to be told the right way.
It needs to be told the right way.
Shook saw what was going on and was like, oh, something going on. Hey, Pac, what's going on?
Did he say the same thing in that Tabitha Sorn interview? I hadn't watched that in a minute, that MTV Tabitha Sorn interview.
I remember when Shook was talking about, Shook was like, wasn't nobody going to see Pac? He's like, don't you think that's strange?
And I remember Pac saying, even in that Clinton correctional interview, he was like I said, Donnie Simpson was making jokes about him getting raped and this and that. So he was catching it from the mainstream. And I think a lot of people don't really remember that when television was king, television and radio was king, they could go out there with a rumor and it could really float. It wasn't like the internet where rumors can get smashed like immediately. You remember the Lil' Kim rumor that they had out there and her getting her stomach pumped and all that shit. Like, rumors really caught legs back then. And he was catching it, you know, from all angles. And yeah, like you said, people weren't coming to check on him or nothing like that. Yeah. Me against the world, for real. And on that note, we can go on to the next topic.
People just don't think it. You don't think it's odd? And it's like, this is what you want to say? It's like, well, if Pac wouldn't have lied. Lied about what? We still trying to figure out. Look, we still trying to figure out why we can't get a straight answer out the other side. At least we have a very clear timeline on what happened to Tupac and how and why, because Tupac was very clear about the timeline on the what and the how.
And calling him
repeatedly, Mike, and repeatedly reminded us on the other side. It's like, well, you know, between December 93 and September 94, and then if you take the 5 and divide it by the 3 and then multiply it by 7, it's like, hold on. When we start doing math about a straight answer, nigga, like...
And calling this man a lie when he's not here to defend himself, I don't think is the right move either. Like, even if you want to use different terminologies, but to say he lied, no. You could say he was misinformed, you know what I mean? Or you could say that, he took things out of context or whatever, but to just sit here and say he lied is to say that, you know what, he knew the truth, but he chose to say something else instead. And that part, based on everything else that we just said, I just think is dishonest. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not cool. And this is coming from...
I want to know if this man got shot on November 30th, and you all from your camp release a record called Who Shot You literally 6 days later. I want to know when exactly that song got recorded and what made you want to release it at that time. This is what I'm saying, Mike. It's like this, Mike. When you catch a case, between manslaughter and murder, Mike, you know what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Intention. So, let's say the intent was not malicious, as in the record got recorded in that December 93 to September to 94 time. Mike, that's still manslaughter.
Right.
You're still doing 10 to 15. Why you acting
it's
like
still a crime. Yeah.
Why you acting like this is what I'm talking about. I'm like talking about why you acting like the 10 to 15 okay, my nigga.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, for real. Why you acting like the 10 to 15 okay? Now, if that shit got recorded on December 1st or 2nd, that's murder.
Yeah.
But either way, a crime has been committed. Let's talk about the crime.
Yeah. The record shouldn't have been put out.
Let's not talk about, I mean, Mike, and if we juxtapose, let's not talk about the victim to the crime. Let's talk about the crime.
Yeah. BCMD with the super chat says Wendy Williams started that rumor about Pac. I believe it. And a lot of Wendy Williams rumors back then used to travel.
Talking about, oh, well, we did, that was during the Ready to Die sessions. Okay, manslaughter, give him 15 years instead of life. I'm sorry, what the fuck are we doing?
Listen, I'm going to be completely honest with you, and this is as a big fan and, Bad Boy fan also. I don't believe that Who Shot You was recorded during the Ready to Die sessions. You could tell somebody else that. There's no evidence on that album to make me believe that.
And this is what I mean about manslaughter, Mike, even still with the intention. Mike, isn't Who Shot You better than about 90% of the records on Life After Death?
Yeah, just like One More Chance is.
So, One More Chance was literally, the remix was good enough to totally repackage Ready to Die again.
Mm-hmm.
Telling me Who Shot You is not good enough to hold till Life After Death?
Exactly.
Unless your intentions, Mike,
you're right,
are not good.
Yeah, they could have.
Mike, and I didn't realize it, Mike, because I'm going to tell you what, I didn't realize it this year till I talked to Glove, and that's what I mean about this being problematic, and I want timestamps on it. What did Glove tell us about the first time he heard Eminem?
Yeah, he said he heard the real Slim Shady in 1997.
I was like, hold on. I'm like, hold on, Glove, that 3 years, he's like, no, he said, that's when you heard it, Coop.
Yep. He forgot about Dre in 1997 for the people that didn't check, haven't seen Coop's interview with the Glove.
Don't
and
make it. And
you have told us that, some of your people that, run with the Bad Boy camp, they say similar things, that you can hold on to a record because only you know when it was created. So like you said, I don't understand why Who Shot You doesn't get saved into Big's next album, at least, Mike, or the Junior Mafia album, at least.
Mike, the second part right out of my mouth, I learned when I was an artist from somebody that used to roll with their camp at Coop. Nobody knows how old the song is except you in your camp. Yeah.
There's no timestamp on Who Shot You. That record sounds like it could have easily been on Life After Death.
Easy.
That don't sound like 93, 94. It doesn't.
All right. So why release this record just arbitrarily with no purpose? It's not like Who Shot You went platinum, Mike.
It's for the streets,
manslaughter or murder.
Davis Lewis with the super chat says, if my friend gets shot, coming to see me, I won't have to go visit him in the hospital. I'm following the ambulance to the hospital.
Ooh, facts.
It's real, man.
You're right, Mike. Like Mike, if I'm there when you get hit up or vice versa, you are following the ambulance.
Yeah. Even if it's somebody I don't even know like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, You know what I mean? Somebody I met a couple times.
Like, how about this? Have we been in studio sessions like more than 3 or 4 or 5 times together? Yeah, I'm probably gonna go.
There's people I've been to high school with that passed on, and I didn't know them like that when we was in school or after school. But I would go to the funeral or the wake or something to support because I knew that person.
Mike, I went to a vigil with my ex with Fee because one of her dearest friends neighbor died. Went to a vigil off Gresham in
Yeah.
Decatur, like just because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Never even knew the man. Just came to pay some respect.
Yeah,
It ain't hard.
it ain't. And again, throwing the blame elsewhere is not the movie.
I told you it's very problematic. They shouldn't have got me started.
Well, we can go on to the production thing because I know we don't have a whole lot of time. They like when we do our midday thing.
I wish I would get shot, go to jail, and niggas make a song about me getting shot.
Or a subliminal about some random person getting shot, I guess.
Allegedly is all I need.
Yeah. Allegedly, it's about LL Cool J.
They did a what? They dropped what? It's like, oh, Mike, I'm like, wait till I get out.
So how about this? This is what we're supposed to believe, that this record's about LL, but it just happened to be released after Pac.
You can't give me $100,000 in my freedom after that, Mike. You're gonna need security around me, like to keep me off their ass when I get off, Mike. That's what the security is gonna be for. The security is not going to be to protect me. It's going to keep me from going to go get them. They like Coop get in the studio. It's like, no. As soon as I go handle these niggas about this shit right here.
Yeah, man. And that's what it was, man. But again, it feels like
happy he went to. That's what I'm saying. Mike better be happy he went to the studio and talk shit. That is not a going to the studio and talking shit type of thing. That's not about to come see your ass type of thing.
Yeah, it feels like the controversy sales thing was kind of in the front of many people's mind that was involved in the situation. I guess they weren't thinking about all the extra stuff that was going to happen, but it happened, you know?
I don't know, Mike, because I'm being honest. This is a black man that's in his early 20s that had been through what Pac had been through. It's like, no, I would have got out the facility and been like, so, where are they? Y'all been keeping track of where are they now?
Like you said, man, he was dealing with so much. Like you said, he was dealing with the police shooting situation. He was dealing with the alleged rape situation. And now I got to deal with this too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, God damn, man. You know what I'm going through, and you going to put this out? And not only are you going to put this out, and you know what I'm going through, you ain't even hollering at me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what the fuck I'm going through.
23, 24, 25-year-old me, Mike, is going to try to burn everything that you have down to the ground. Like, literally. Like, every house, every estate you have, I would try to burn it to the ground at that age. Like, about something like that. It's like I would want you left with nothing.
Yeah. Again, man, when you think about it and you unpack all of these things, I think Pac actually handled it the best anybody could handle it.
Couldn't be.
I don't think it could have been handled even better.
Not 35-year-old you, Mike. Not 40-year-old you. Early 20s. Oh, Mike, I'm trying to get addresses, numbers, driver's license. I'm gonna do it all, Mike. It was what? It was like 9. Oh, it was still MapQuest 2. Couldn't digitally track anybody. Oh, it's a problem.
You know, it kind of feels like the Cube thing too with America's Most, right? I don't feel like Pac was even really throwing a lot of shots at Big on All Eyes on Me.
He was.
He really wasn't.
He was really just calling like conceited.
Yeah. I mean, like, All Eyes on Me, he kind of was minding his business. It wasn't to Machiavelli where he really started going
in. No more pain's not minding your business, Mike.
What's that?
No more pain's not minding your business.
Yeah.
That's not minding your business.
Yeah.
On the pistol, nigga. No, that's not minding your business.
Yeah, No More Pain is that moment on that record. My adversaries cry like foes, Philly eradicate my foes, my lyrics with the phone contact, game on you, who else was mama's only son?
Fuck the phony niggas on the run.
Yeah.
Now Hollow and Ready, they watching now figures.
Could have been much worse though. If that's the only
Please.
time he's really addressing him on there, that's pretty
bad.
light.
It's all these niggas that you run with be on some dumb shit, trick on our homes. Yeah. I ain't the one, bitch. Who you think he talking to?
Well, he's just telling his story at this point. He's just telling his story at that point.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you do some shit like that to me, I'm coming to burn down your whole village at 23. So, like, you should be happy if it's just a rap song. I'm coming for you in real life. If you, Mike, I get shot. Mike, he could have died 5 times. Buster shot me 5 times. Real niggas don't die. No.
Yeah.
Shot 5 times. Mike, what Jada Kiss say in Checkmate? Never has it been cool to get shot and not shoot back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's terrible, man.
It's bad.
It's a very dark time, and again, none of that shit even had to happen.
All they had to do was go see that, man. So all that had to
Communication, man. Communication. And hopefully the current era and every era after it should learn from what happened there. And again, that's my only problem with people telling this story in a certain way. And they were doing it in the Biggie biopic and all that. No, tell the truth, because generations can learn from that and make sure that they communicate and move forward. That's it. Born Gift with the super chat. Well, it's not a super chat, but he says he didn't, Mike. He waited 4 months after All Eyes on Me was multi-platinum and then released Hit 'Em Up, Atomic Bomb.